Tony Polecastro here from Tony's Acoustic Challenge. Open tunings are one of the most fun ways to play and create music, even if you've never used them before, which is why in today's video, I'm going to share with you a way to get into this really cool open D minor, kind of a moody tuning. But also, once you're there, I'm going to give you some things to do, two things specifically, so you can actually use it as a creative tool. So without further ado, let's dive right in on how to get your guitar from standard tuning into open D minor tuning. And one thing to know about open D minor tuning is that it's actually, we're tuning our strings to a minor chord. In this case, obviously, an open D minor chord. So we're going to take our low E string and drop it down to a D. Keep your A string the same, your D string the same. The G string you're going to drop to an F. The B string you'll drop to an A, and the high E string you'll drop to a D. So in short, it's D, A, D, F, A, D. And one of the best ways you can check to see if you're close to being in tune or right on track is to actually just go ahead and strum your strings. It should give you this kind of sad D minor chord. The saddest of all chords, as I believe Nigel Tufnell said in Spinal Tap. So now that you're in open D minor tuning, let's actually do some creation here, okay? The first thing I'm going to show you is a minor scale on a single string. Now, it won't seem like much, but what I'm going to tell you to do with it actually will open up a huge doorway to creativity. So let's focus on that high D string, okay? And let's play a minor scale just on it. So you'll start with it open, move to the 2nd fret, 3rd fret, 5th fret, 7th fret, 8th fret, 10th fret, 12th fret. Okay, now I know it doesn't seem like much right now, but what you can do with this is absolutely incredible, because since we're in an open tuning, we can strum all the other strings with those single notes, and it's going to sound really beautiful. Here's an example. So that's just on one single string with the very same pattern that I just showed you. Again, that's open, 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 7th, 8th, 10th, 12th. Now here's the cool thing. Since you have 3 D strings, you can, of course, do that on the high D string, the middle D, or even the low D string, which gives you a lot of different sonic options. Now, the next thing that usually happens when you get into an open tuning is, cool, I'm messing around with single notes, that all sounds good. And the cool thing about open tunings is that they kind of dictate what sounds good and what doesn't sound good. So even if you venture to other strings, you'll quickly realize what's a safe zone and what's not. But one of the main questions is, okay, cool, the single note thing is awesome, but how do I play chords? Now, one of the things I want you to know is that I'm going to share with you 2 different chord shapes here that I want you to use for creativity. I don't want you to worry about naming them yet. I don't want you to worry about figuring out if they're in a certain key or not. Just set that stuff aside and purely approach this from a creative and kind of, if it sounds good, it is good kind of perspective. Okay, so the 2 shapes that I'm going to show you, one of them I'll call a stacked shape because the fingers are literally stacked on top of one another. And the other shape I'll call a staggered shape. The fingers are spread just a fret apart. So let's start with the stacked shape. We'll visit the 5th fret, and with your ring finger on the 5th fret of the high D, your middle finger on the 5th fret of the F string, you have just made the stacked shape. So once you have that ring finger, 5th fret of the D, middle finger on the 5th fret of the F string, I want you to go ahead and strum all the strings. This is going to be your stacked shape, okay? And this isn't the only place we're going to play it, but more on that in a second. I'll actually show you the whole series of chord shapes. The staggered shape, if you just take your middle finger and slide it towards the headstock 1 fret, so your middle finger's on the 4th fret of the F string, and then you drop your index finger to the 3rd fret of the D string, you are now making the staggered shape. So go ahead again, strum all 6 strings while you're making this shape that spans the 4th and 3rd fret. That's the staggered shape. So we have stacked and we have staggered. Okay. Now I'm going to show you the order of these shapes so you can actually use them to start strumming and playing your own music. So we'll start with the strings open. Make the stacked shape on the 2nd fret, again between the F and the high D string. Move that middle finger up and make a staggered shape between the 4th and the 3rd fret. Make a stacked shape on the 5th fret, a stacked shape on the 7th fret, staggered between the 9th fret and the 8th fret, middle finger on the 9th fret, index finger on the 8th fret. Take that staggered shape, move it up 2 frets, so you're between the 10th and the 11th, and then finish it all out with a stacked shape on the 12th fret. So we have, just in summation, open, stacked, staggered, stacked, stacked, staggered, staggered, stacked. So between getting your guitar in the open tuning, that single note minor scale, and those chord shapes, you have an arsenal of things to create with, and I'm super excited for you to dig in. In fact, in the comments below, I want you to know how this lesson went and what light bulbs may have went off. I think open tunings are incredible, and I want to hear about it. Again, I hope you dug this lesson, and if you dug this lesson, I know you're absolutely going to love Tony's Acoustic Challenge. It's an acoustic guitar program like you've never seen before, so click the link here in the video or in the description below to learn more about it and see how it can take your playing to the next level by having fun and progressing day in and day out. I know you're going to dig it, so don't hesitate to request your invite today. I'd love to see you over there.